Welcome back, everybody. It's the Burning Wheel going into part 3 of today's episode. So, Dave, it's actually a really simple test. You can just make it right now if you want to.
Yep, that's fine.
Recovery from a light wound requires an Ob2 health test. If successful, the pain fades immediately. If failed, the penalty remains for 24 hours minus the fort exponent. And that's it. So you just have to actually rest. So unless you were planning on like running outside immediately, if you rest, you can make this test.
Yeah, I will rest and I'll make the Ob2 health test.
Ob2 health test.
No, 2, submit.
There you go. All right. Okay, so the wound was not as bad as it appeared. You're doing okay. It's going to take more than a ghost with a knife to kill Miro, or even really inconvenience him in any significant way.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, Agatha, while people are getting beaten with wooden spoons and orchestrating their political careers and whatever the fuck Miro is doing, where do we see you? I know you have some things you want to get going.
I feel like Agata's kind of living the peasant life for a lot of the time, though, as well. Like, it's mostly just about subsistence out in the fucking frozen wasteland.
Yeah.
That is outside. And so, like, that's what she's spending most of her time doing right now. So we probably get, like, the little montage of her, like, walking out into the woods to, like, get stuff that she needs and then, like, bringing it back, and her familiar like leaping through the snow.
Yeah, and I mean you're living a bit of a perilous experience because like in the nearest village, we talked a little bit about there being sort of stratum of non-castliness, right? Like there's the castle and the city, and then outside its walls there's like a community of hunters that are like loyal to but apart from Carpathia, right? Folks that live in lodges and hunt the woods and are given yearly promissory notes or whatever that allow them to do that, right? So they're not poachers. And then somewhere deeper in the edge of the woods, not in like the deep dark woods, but there is like a village of woods folk that are technically not under the control of Carpathia. They don't really belong to anyone. And that has changed over time. But in that village, the king has absolutely posted like a small garrison of his guards to keep an eye out for you. And they are, as you would expect, making the people who actually live in that village pretty fucking miserable, right? Like
as cops will do.
They're there just to be like, yes, we're looking for this witch. We're not here to make your life difficult. Just ignore us. But also, we're bored and like trying to.
We're bored, have absolute authority, and are armed.
Yes, exactly. And so there are these soldiers.
Yes, my favorite combination.
There are these soldiers that are in the village, maybe say a dozen of them, who are. There to make sure that Agatha does not resurface, and if she does, that she's turned in. So yeah, what are you up to, Agatha? You're muted, Andrew.
Well, but do any of these villages have crops or livestock?
Yeah, I imagine the village, which is the nearest kind of thing, is... Yeah, they probably have like a couple of fields that grow something hardy.
Obviously covered in snow right now. And
yes, yeah, I was thinking like gourds, like a pumpkin field or something. And they have some livestock, like goats. Probably there's like a goat farm. And then yeah, there's like weavers and maybe I don't imagine that there's like I think there's a logging camp somewhere in the woods where the like the king's hunters kind of hang out, but I don't think these people do much of that. Yeah, but they live a fairly idyllic, if rough, life outside the castle.
So yeah, I think I need to look to dealing with my like shelter, making it actually good, because I'm not imagining that Agatha's like ruined villa is actually very habitable.
No, especially if you can't like hang out in there and like keep like make it good. Part of the thing is these guys like there's people who will check in on it occasionally, and it's the first place anyone would look to find you. So
Yeah, so what she actually wants to do is like that's still kind of like an anchor for her where she's going to go back to it, but she has like a little shelter that she's setting up somewhere nearby, but one that is fairly like rude and can be hidden.
Right, like a duck blind, but for
yeah,
living.
like a yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I think the first thing would be to find a suitable location if we want to go through all the steps.
I mean, there's one test to be made, right? There's a survival test to be made.
Cool. Well, here's the thing about the survival skill, Adam.
Yes.
Is that I do not have it.
That's right.
But you know who does have it is the spirits. So rather than her find this herself, because it's outside of her wheelhouse, she's just going to get spirits to do it for her. And so let me just double check exactly how this is going to work, because this is a particular kind of task. I mean, is this just work? Am I just making the spirit do like basic work? Do we want to say? Or?
No, because that's like digging and pushing and pulling, and like you're looking for them to like help you with a survival test, which you can't make on your own, right?
Oh yeah, so I can just do the help one then. So they may be induced to help a character with skill or stat test appropriate to the domain.
Yeah.
Help as per the standard rules.
Sure.
So that would give me at best like 2 dice probably. Whereas there's also one to have it give me skills, I believe.
Sure.
Is that true? No, I can only give myself a wise.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Spirits are wise.
Okay. So I think it's going to be a 2-step process.
Okay.
Where I get a spirit to give me a wise about survival in the woods, and then I get another spirit to actually help me, and then we're going to do this. So there's lots of room for it to go wrong, but she is calling on
the wise is so that you can
to give myself a fork.
You can't fork for beginner's luck.
Yeah, you don't have the skills.
I don't have the skills, so I don't need the fork. The fork wouldn't matter, but the help will still be good.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this. It's gonna end poorly. Let's do it.
Okay. So you're gonna call on the spirits of the woods to help you find a place to hide out.
Yeah, and this is like one of the few times where I'm back in my villa, and so it'll be in that same like room that we described previously, where she's done other like cercinating.
And the place has been like rolled basically. Like, I mean, it might be hard to tell because it's your house, Agatha.
Because it's already so ruined anyways.
But you put everything back where it's supposed to be. Only now it's not, right? Like you've returned, and these soldiers have gone through your house and like taken anything that they think would be valuable in tracking you, and then thrown the place otherwise.
And so yeah, she like there's like that bit where she comes in and like goes to reach for something and it's not there, and there's like a sigh and a curse under her breath, and she like goes about setting things to rights, and then like a lot of the stuff that she actually needs for this probably would not seem valuable. It's like, oh yeah, this like little bundle of bones in the corner and like some sticks, and then she has some like chalk in her bag that she pulls out. So I'm gonna cercinate to begin with, and then spirit bind. Let's see. A strength 5 spirit is what I need to bind. So I will do. Oh, I need a difficult cercination test. So what's going to be a difficult test? I just need to be a little bit strategic here because I need to advance my skills, and that's how this game works. So I'm going to do an Ob 3 cercination test.
Okay.
I'm not going to fork anything. We'll see how that goes. So I'm spending 3 hours drawing circles.
Okay. And are you taking your time to do it? Or can you on that skill?
I'm not going to take extra time.
Okay. All right.
Because I know exactly what my time-related complication will be. Which is either I freeze to death or guards show up to harass me. So yeah, she doesn't like waste time here or spend more than she needs. So base ob 3. I do it not.
That is true.
So the cercination does not work out. This is not a failed spirit binding test, mind you.
No, but it's still a failed test, right?
Yes. So how does this go wrong, Adam?
I think if you fail this test, the idea is that you're ill prepared for what comes next, right? Like the circle is here to focus and draw the energy of the spirits. And it still does that, but it's done poorly. It's done wrong, right? Like you're channeling things in the wrong way. The spirits that you call will be particularly powerful or particularly angry or particularly retributive. You basically just like amp up the power they have, right? And you just don't.
Oh, right. I'm still wounded as well, so I only rolled 3 dice there.
Yeah,
I forgot to factor that in.
Yeah.
Whoops.
You're partway healed from the 2 dice you had before.
Okay, well, I got to go ahead with the spirit binding regardless.
Yep.
And so I need a strength 5 spirit.
Okay.
I'm rolling 5 dice. Do I get I don't get a penalty or anything.
No, it's not. The cercination's on a link test. No.
Yeah. Okay. So, I am going to fork. So for this one, I think paths-wise does matter. Because it's about like wayfinding and that kind of stuff. Spirit-wise, and I will fork astrology. So that's 3 forks.
Okay.
One of which I have to roll separately. So mod of 2.
I think spirit binding. I think it's only like I'm looking at the skill now. I think it's only fork is astrology, but that there are linked tests you can make. So like spirit wise would be a link.
Oh,
test.
right, because I'm thinking of this like it's just a
Like
regular
it's magic.
skill. So
yeah. So you can fork. You can fork astrology.
Okay, well I'll do that.
Yeah. But, I mean,
okay,
don't
but
do
wises can still apply though, can't they?
Only if you make a link test first, and that takes time and
okay.
Could make it worse. Yeah.
Well, let's do this no mod and hope I roll well. Can't really afford to spend Artha. Base ob is 5. I mean, okay, so knowing that, then I don't want to do the ob 5. I will do the ob. I'll do it at ob 2.
Okay.
Get a strength 2 spirit to help me. So it'll only fork me only give me a single die of help instead of 2 dice of help. But
okay.
The risk is just too much.
Yeah, and this is like a guiding spirit that you're calling up from the woods to take you somewhere safe to set up camp.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Hey, there you go.
Yeah, so 4 successes.
Now you got to roll that astrology die. There you go. Nice.
Yeah, so we got 5 successes. Could have done the strength 5 spirit, but also this means no retribution at this rate because I have 3 more successes than it has strength.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing I always forget with spirit binding is like strength 5 spirit. If I match the ob, I get the thing, but
then retribution.
You want to get away clean if you can.
Okay, so describe so you do this like cercination, and I don't know, is it because it's hasty? Is it because none of your stuff is around because they've taken stuff of yours?
I'm missing some things, and it's not that they're not there; it's that Agatha can't find them. Because she's like feeling around for them, and they're just not where they're supposed to be.
Well, I like the idea too of like flashing back to the soldiers like going through your place. And a soldier, maybe there's 2 of them. One of them's holding a lantern, and the other is holding a scroll. And the scroll has a list of things on it. And the soldier with the lantern is like, "What are we looking for?" And the one with the scroll says, "Oh, Magus said we need these things. If we can't find the witch, this is almost as good." And then him being like, right there, and like grabbing an amulet off a counter, and like basically they have a shopping list the Magus gave them, and some of those things are the things you're missing.
Totally. And yeah, some of them are around, but I just can't find them, and I'm like feeling around for them, and they're not where they're meant to be. And so again, the like cursing under her breath, and she just like does this really like crude cercination that doesn't have all the right stuff, and kind of like throws her hands up, and then just like sits, just like huffs and sits down, and just like very angrily glowers into the center of it, and like this, you know, spirit of the woods like manifests. I think it's like a little like twig effigy that she assembles, and like by like bending and wrapping and weaving sticks together.
Cool.
And then she just like forces her concentration on it, and it like jerks to life and like pops up onto it to its like 3 legs and starts like limping around the room and like checking things out, and then like leads her off.
Yeah, I dig it. That's awesome. Cool. Okay.
And so yeah, it's going to help me find a suitable space for setting up a hidden camp.
Sounds good.
And so now I have to make this survival roll. So yeah, she like steps out of the house into the cold and like pulls her cloak over her face, and like kind of vaguely in the direction of the castle, just kind of like makes a face and spits, and then keeps walking. And so I'm making a survival test, huh?
Yeah. So survival is depending on what you're looking for. It's a different ob, like food, water, and then like a whole shelter situation. So let me see. Setting up a secret home base where you can hide out in the woods. Looks like, here we go. Stonecraft survival. Basic shelter, basic water, survival food, water and shelter in extreme conditions.
So we're at the Ob 4 one then, right? Water
I mean, I don't think it's extreme conditions. Or you know what? Let's call it Ob 4, but I'll give you a bonus, an advantage die, because it's like extreme conditions, but it's not. You're at the edge of the like magical extremity, so it's not so bad.
Yeah, and we've ruled in the past too that like for Agatha, it feels the way normal winter feels for other people.
Exactly.
So
yeah, actually take 2 dice then, because I forgot about that.
Okay, so I get 2 dice.
Yeah, so it's going to be Ob 3 with two advantage dice.
All right, and it's
hybrid, Ob 4 with 2 advantage dice.
It's hybrid will perception, which means my aptitude is 6, so I need 4 tests in order to actually get the skill. And this will be my first one. Okay, so I'm rolling survival with a mod of 2. One from the spirit.
Yeah, another one from the spirit, and then two, and then 2 more. Yeah, 3 total.
Okay, great. And sorry, the ob that we're going with is
4.
4.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, which I think feels appropriate. Okay, good luck to me.
And if you fail, the failure condition here is that there is no way to survive alone in the woods. That the only way that you can survive is by finding other people to like coexist with, right? You'll have to go to the village or to the lodge or return to home. Like you cannot live alone.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay, well I have a suitable follow-up in that case. So here we go.
So you follow the kind of
the little stick
effigy thing as it capers in stop motion out into the woods.
And yeah, like it's not human shaped. It's like a Triskelion. You know those things with the 3 legs.
I was thinking, like a weird tripod spiral. Kind of.
Yeah, and so it like kind of rolls and tumbles and
bones and sticks.
Very strange way. And it has like a little cage with a rock in it that tumbles.
It's like rattling and kind of carrying it forward. Yeah, I like it. Ooh, that's
4 successes.
Big ob. You're halfway there. Yeah. Fate has abandoned you in the woods, Agatha. And
so it takes me. Where does this little spirit take me? That I then realize I'm like, oh well, everything's fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes you to the village, right? Because you're like, help me find a way to survive. And and it
And
leads
it
you
just like stops there.
Yeah, it leads you to the edge of the village. Climbs up on top of a. There's a fence post. There's fences around the now dormant pumpkin field, and it clambers up on top of the fence post, unwinds one of the little threads that it has around the post, and then jumps off and kind of like hangs itself from the post, and then just goes inert and just hangs there from the
Yeah,
post,
and it's
swinging
like
in the breeze.
This is perfect first step of my haunting the kingdom.
Yeah, and we hear your familiar like whining, either from the cold or from frustration, and we look up and we can see the stone houses, these little huts of the village, out before you. Yeah.
So yeah, she just walks up to someone's door.
Okay. All right. Do you want to like roll circles? Do you want to like know this person, or is this just like any random person in the village? Because here's the thing: if you say any random person, you have no control over whether they're going to go immediately to the guards or not.
No, this has to be someone I know, and the spirit took me there, so clearly it's like, and I'm not sure who it's going to be quite yet. Is the thing, but like
Ob2 would give you a villager who wouldn't immediately like dump you, who wouldn't immediately like go to the soldiers. Someone more loyal to you than them.
And so here's how I know this person is that I used to go around doing the naming ritual, and so I'm well traveled. I've been through all of these villages in the surrounding area at least once in my life, and so this is someone whom I named them, and then I also named their siblings. And so if I had named them, they wouldn't know me because they'd be a tiny baby. Yeah. But later I came back and named their siblings. And so they would recognize me. And they're like, at least they're superstitious or whatever enough to be.
I imagine the villagers here
kind of halfway in my culture.
Right. The villagers here have a little stone, like, it wouldn't be a whole temple or whatever, but there's like a stone shrine to God Almighty, right? But also at home in secret, they have a little like, their little hearth,
a little like henge or hearth spirit stuff. Yeah, like a lot of they do shit out of this book, Adam. Where it's like it is the combination of witchcraft and because a lot of this stuff has like Christian imagery in it, but is a like incorporation
the thing is you're not going to find spirit binders or art magicians here, but you will find a woman who knows what kind of beans to throw at zombies.
The like hedge magic.
Yes. Yeah.
Zombie bean lady.
And so there's like this, they exist in this liminal space between the two cultures and have lots of elements of both and view them they kind of equivocate in a practical way between the two, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Cool. And so this person that I've named and who will not like love me but like respect me, right? And like my position and understands the like cultural significance of it and therefore won't just like rat me out to the fucking cops.
Yeah, absolutely. Provided you succeed. It is an Ob2 circles test.
Ob2 circles, great.
Well, let me double check. So Ob1, let's see what applies when appropriate. So Ob1, broad occupation, profession, same life path. That doesn't really matter. You don't care what this person does. Station, I think in this case doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they don't need to be important.
If this was someone more significant, well, I just mean like their station differentiated from you.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So like, I think in this case, it doesn't matter, but if you're looking for someone influential or someone who actually cared about the fact that you like lived in the castle, you backstabber, right? Someone who might be inclined to be like, listen, this is our village. And if the soldiers are looking for you, you've brought your castle problems to us. So you need to go away. But in this case, it's just, like a young woman or man who you named. Disposition is the same as member of circles. Okay. Yeah. So I think Ob2 is reasonable for this person.
Great. What kind of test is that?
I don't know. You're trying to make it more difficult on yourself?
I need a routine circles test.
Oh, I see.
Is there any way I can make this test easier, Adam?
Do you have any affiliations or reputations?
So I have a reputation as a reliable oracle, which is a small one that only existed kind of mostly at court.
Still true.
I have I have a 2-die infamous hex witch.
Yeah, it's gonna make it worse.
Which I think would complicate this.
Yeah, that would make it harder. Yes, let the scary witch inside.
And then I have the only other thing I have is my spirit mark.
Yeah, so no.
Around doomed places.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there's any.
That'll come in handy later when I'm terrifying everyone. Okay, well I'll just roll it. I want to.
Yeah, the roll is circles, reputation, and affiliations. You cannot fork because it's not a skill. Someone else with similar circles could help you, or you can make a linked test with an appropriate wise. So if you had like village wise or hates the guard wise, or
I have paths wise, apocalypse wise, and spirit wise.
No, this is not. Yeah, none of those.
None of those apply. So
rebellious peasant wise, fuck the police wise.
I'm adding. Okay, I'm going to do a link test with a wise I don't have yet. I'm going to learn a wise.
Okay.
So learning wises is good. And yeah, it's and this is like I should have written this one in given my whole like well-traveled thing. But maybe this is also like something she's forgotten and needs to relearn.
Right.
But she used to go around naming people. Like she's seen tons of peasants and villagers and that kind of thing. So just like a villager wise, I think is
totally villager wise is
appropriate for her history.
Yeah.
So she's got to relearn it, but she's going to learn it. And so I think so with this wise, it's just to like
you're establishing a fact.
I need to establish a fact that is helpful here,
and it's under the auspices of the link test. So what is true? What is true of villagers that would help you find a villager that would be?
I think she's going to draw on the like code of hospitality.
Sure, that's what I was thinking too. That there's some kind of namer's code where like you don't mistreat a namer because what's the actual code? Speaker of names?
Yeah, speaker of names.
You don't mistreat the speaker of names because she might rename you cursed, right? Like or ungrateful.
That your children will suffer.
Totally.
Right? It's not that you'll suffer. It's something you have to do.
You left me out in the snow 15 winters ago and now you've had a baby. I name your baby Bloodsuckle.
So you just come back and like Maleficent their asses? This is like
she's a witch.
Yeah, like people get cursed if they don't treat me well. But specifically their children get cursed.
I mean, we all gave you vindictive, right? Or whatever your horrible trait is. So
and so what's the ob for establishing this fact, Adam?
It seems fairly reasonable. Let's call it ob 2 because it's a little folklore-y, not just like common knowledge everybody would know.
Okay. Does my spirits wise?
You can't fork because you're opening.
I don't know it yet. I can't fork. I'm greedy for.
I know.
Additional
it's
dice.
Cool. Everybody's making like bomb tests right now. So many tests.
I got 2 6s. I'm gonna spend fate.
Okay.
Aces.
Nice. Okay, so you got 3, 4. You got 5 successes, which is 1 over the obstacle, which means you get a bonus die on the circles test because you more than beat the link test.
Yeah. Nice. So sweet. So I get to roll 3 dice for circles.
Yeah.
And so there's like this particular like the first person that you go to in town when you're a speaker of names has to put you up.
Right. Totally. And for some it's an honor, and for others it's like, oh god, no, please.
It's like a horrible burden.
Yeah, and so when they know you're coming, everyone will like gather on the stoop and just like wait nervously and like.
Yeah, so in villages they used to like they would sit out and watch you.
There'd be a day where like the speaker of names would come, and like this would be the day that Boychild would become like Edmund Strongback, and you're all standing. Everyone in the town is just like standing around nervously, like, oh, where are they gonna stay? Oh geez. Okay, so here's.
I got a 6.
I mean, it's a 6.
Spending another fate.
Let's do it here.
Oh fuck my life.
Okay, all right.
So bad.
So
whatever. My circles is now 3.
I love this. Is exactly what happened to Joy too, where it was like so much work done to set up and lots of success along the way, but the roll that matters, that scavenging roll, that circles roll. So this person, they
like me, Adam?
They put up a good. I mean, the obvious one here is that they're under some duress, right? Like that they would love if it were like the old days and you could come in and like they could put you up and I think it's a mother with several young children, maybe some of which are not named yet.
Definitely not named yet. Yeah, because I want to name someone.
But when it comes down to it, when she's going to have a moment where she has to make the choice between going to the guards and being like, the witch Agatha is here, or not, that is the way she will go. She will ultimately betray you. That's just how it's going to be, right? Like, they have some leverage over her. Maybe she has a long and complex emotional and historical set of beliefs that will culminate in her turning her back on you.
Well, and we talked about these people being practical too, right?
Yep. Okay, so let's name this traitorous villager.
It's like the dramatic irony version of Curse Your Son, but inevitable betrayal. We just wait. It's just gonna
curse your slow, inevitable betrayal.
Yeah, Agatha, come on in.
And so we established that she is a mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some good like lady villager names? I mean, actually, I named her, so I'm gonna tell you what her name is.
Yeah, you tell me what her name is.
But we should talk about the naming traditions. Are these like names the way we would conceive of them, like George and Stanley and?
Yeah, they probably. I mean, I don't know. You're the name giver, but I imagine they have like regular names they call each other, right? Like Wilfred and Helga. But there's probably they probably get like secret special names, right?
I think it's like there's the two parts. You give them their name that people use, and then they have like a name that only they're meant to know.
Yeah.
But which your parents know, which is how they have power over you.
Yeah, exactly. And your beloved knows because you love them, and that's
you share it
when you get
them.
Married, you share it with them. Yeah.
I just realized that's actually
true names.
That's really interesting because, despite it not seeming like we're like just like adding a poetry layer thing on, if I were to ever summon them or use my own magic on them, the fact that your character is interacting in that way,
I'm thinking of that. Yeah.
Cool. I'd not twigged on that before.
Yeah, it's neat, right?
Yeah.
So her name is Hiri. It's just Hiri. But her like true name, I mean, obviously it has to foreshadow her betrayal, right? Like,
right.
What's a good traitor thing to?
Hiri Backknife. Hiri Turncoats worthy. Hiri.
What's the betrayal metaphor we want to draw on, right? Because there's two-face, there's backstabbing, there's being shifty.
But again, it's also like that she'll always make the practical choice, right? Like, and it can tie into what threatens, like maybe the guards have one of her kids or her husband or something.
Yeah,
and
totally. And I think it's more that angle. Yeah, it's a name about being like completely dedicated to her family.
Totally. Yeah.
And so what's an animal that's like that?
A bear. Mama bear, right? The
yeah.
bears are all like, that's their jam, right?
So yeah, her true name is it's just her true name is Bear Mother.
I like it. And of course, there was a time before when no one needed fake names because everyone lived in harmony with each other and the spirits and all went by their true name all the time because you could trust people, right? The ancient ways worked different.
People used to live that way and
totally.
had to take on these like it's like a colonial name.
It plays really nicely into the idea that slaves don't have names and they get them assigned to them and yeah, it's great.
We are being thematically consistent. Good job, us.
Yeah, good job, us. Well done, team. All right, so Bear Mother, Hiri. I think,
and of course, that's how I greet her when I come to the door, right? Like she opens it, and I'm just like, Bear Mother.
She looks at you as though she has seen a ghost. And her eyes flick to the center of town where both the shrine to God and the garrison of soldiers who have taken up in probably like one of the bigger houses, right? Because there's a dozen of them. So they're just like, get the fuck out. Go stay with those peasants. We live in your house now. And so her eyes like kind of flick nervously there. And of course she like, bows and like kisses the back of your hand and like does whatever is necessary to show you that she welcomes you into her home.
Yeah, and Agatha like steps across the threshold and just says, "The spirits guided me to you." I wonder if they've led me astray or not. And like shakes some snow off of her cloak and steps inside.
Fucking threatening as shit. You're just like, yo, the spirit's probably here. Don't fuck with me.
I'm looking at this list of traits I have, Adam, and
she flashes back to the soldiers showing up in town and being like, God sent us, motherfuckers. We live here now. Don't fuck around. And so she watches you go. One of her kids like sees you and you're familiar and immediately just starts crying in fear. And she picks the kid up, and it's just like, I think she refers to them as like boy child, right? Because he doesn't have a name yet, and she's like,
and yeah, Agatha like pushes the door closed behind her.
Okay, good, and that's a good scene closer on that one. Nicely done.
Yeah, crying baby, me closing the door. Yeah.
Milk curdling on the steps. Yeah, no, it's good. Okay. So let's see what happens. We know that Miro, you recover okay. Joy, you have some additional time to like be yourself. Let's set the scene for Mother Christmas. What? Yeah, Alessandra, what does this situation look like?
So the whole premise was like specifically at the castle, but I'm sure like word would have gotten out because she wanted to make a show of it, right? Mm-hmm. Specifically at the castle, Alessandra has heard or intimated or seen that or asked the lady treasurer, I guess that was the whole conversation, that there is need for food and wood and cloaks, like warm cloaks to protect against the endless winter cold. And so she went through her books and scraped up some cash and probably, up to this point, her estate is doing like well. There's no market need, at least there in the rolls that we've made. So like they live maybe closer to the woods than the castle and they have firewood or could easily go get some firewood. And bought some cloaks and maybe had more stores of food because I don't know.
You're just leveraging the fact that you have things to trade and have connections to make those trades.
And it's not a hardship.
Yeah, it's not a hardship for you. In fact, making a resource test and succeeding at it means you don't get taxed, and you're moving towards making your resources better. You got to spend money to make it, right?
Yeah. So she gathers all this up in some kind of. I'm assuming that she wouldn't have a like goods carrying like wagon ordinarily, so it's probably like fancier than it needs to be because it normally
in town in the winter we don't travel by wagon, we travel by sleigh,
of course, sleigh
drawn by horses, right? Horse-drawn sleigh. So you probably have like a house corvée, like a beautiful like painted wood and metal runners and
it's ordinarily for like carrying her and her son and maybe Reza like all wrapped in furs and shit, but she's got stuff piled in it, and pulls it up to the area of the castle where like the kitchens would ordinarily take in like supplies and stuff. So it's not a place where she would normally go. And they're probably like, why are you coming here, Lady Corvidae? Like, what's up? Like, you go that way, you know?
Well, I mean, if you orchestrated this through your connections, like the staff would be ready to assist, right?
Yeah, sure. Then they would be waiting.
So you arrive, and the master of the treasury and Tabitha and a few other women are like there, ready to participate. The master of the treasury tends to dress in like traditionally like men's like clothes. Like she wears a simple kind of like trousers and a like a blouse, and she has a coat on because it's cold, and a hat. But Tabitha has this beautiful like fox fur like cloak that she's wearing, and it's all like adorned with like topazes, like the pin, and she's great, and she sees you arrive, and you're helped down from the sleigh that you rode in on.
Can I say that maybe I knew or intimated that Tabitha would be putting on all her fucking finery, and Alessandra, who normally would be like the most well-dressed person at the place, is making a point of not shoving her riches down the peasants' throats?
Sure, absolutely.
She's making a point of dressing more plainly than she ordinarily would.
Well,
so
because she has that understanding of how to dress appropriately, right?
yes, that's what
So-
well-dressed. Yeah.
So she dresses more humbly here in this moment because that's the best way to dress.
Yeah, because she's trying to give like a very like, this is a performance, and part of her performance is that she's not dripping with jewels, right? So yeah, I think that is definitely on purpose. Also,
Okay. So yeah, you're helped down by a huge man in a winter coat who looks like he's been in a fight relatively recently. Like he's got one eye that's kind of like still swollen shut a little bit. And this big guy like helps you down, and then immediately starts like taking things off of the sleigh, I guess. Like what have you instructed? Like what's the setup here when people show up?
I feel like things like firewood and stuff is just going to be like, yeah, just get it down, just that's heavy. And I'm assuming that peasants can't just carry a bunch of firewood around. So that would be something that would be like either kept at the castle for castle people to have warmth, or like someone would need to help people take that back, right? It's firewood, it's heavy.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna have to show up with their pack animals, their mules and their children, and
or their little like toboggans.
Yeah, they're sad little hobo toboggans, and carry home
Sad little hobo
their
toboggans.
piles of wood.
Yeah, and I think that Alessandra, because this is all performance, would make the whole show of like, gathering up some cloaks and being like, "Oh, you poor dear, you look cold," to some random person, and
Okay, so
definitely
before-
she's helping.
So
right?
before everyone arrives, like, yeah, you want to make a point of being like a person that hands things out so people can see you that you're the one, you're the one doing it. Okay.
Definitely. This
Okay.
is my show. They gotta see me doing good shit.
Okay. All right. So the servants start to get the scene like ready for you. Joy, are you lurking about?
Oh yes. This is a castle event, of course. Of course, I am lurking. Though I don't imagine I would be lurking at the entranceway, so to speak, and all of this like arriving and getting set up business. Though I imagine for the last few hours I've been in the way of various people who have been trying to do those things. Yeah, I mean, I'll save my esteemed presence for the great halls and so forth once everybody's settled.
Right, the party after where everyone jerks each other off for being such good people.
Exactly. Exactly.
That hadn't even occurred to me. Good work, Joy. Nicely
Wait,
done.
what?
Well,
There's
just
a
the
party
idea that, of course, after you do a really nice thing, you all have to go and like pat each other on the back and be like, "Good job, good work, everyone. We really did something good today."
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a thing.
That's the place that I
Oh my
live.
God.
I live in that moment.
Fuck, that's so good.
But keeping my eye out for various members of the court who, well, not various members. I'm keeping my eye out for the Magus. Keep my eye out for that goddamn fly.
Yeah, so the king definitely will not attend. You could, I suppose, make a circles test if you want to make sure that the Magus is here, or some other test.
You know what? I will, because rolls.
Yeah, you've got connections at the court. You can make a roll to try to ensure that the Magus decides to show up. Okay, have you circles the Magus before?
No.
Wait,
I think I have actually.
I think you have. You've gone looking.
I
for
think
him.
one time you went to try and find the Magus. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I ran into him and Soren,
Soren.
who
Oh,
also
Soren.
is a very interesting person.
When is Soren going to flirt with me again?
I don't know.
Is
You
there-
could circles him up.
I don't want Soren to be an enmity clause circle. Please.
It's dangerous. Dangerous risk.
You know
but
what?
if you
I am
succeed,
I am not gonna-
he'll be in a good mood, right?
I am not going to circles up the Magus. I am going to circles up Soren.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. All right. So
And if you fail, it's enmity against you, and I'm still okay.
So Soren's doing you a solid here.
I mean, whatever. He was talking with the Magus. Maybe he's someone I can get on my side.
Okay. So circles is for Soren. Ob 1. You are looking for. No, you haven't. Have you rolled circles for him before?
No.
Okay, so you won't get the +1. He is of a higher rank, station, or class than you, but it's not
We are
unusual
part
for
of
him
the
to
same.
be in a place like this. Yeah, Ob 3 circles test.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Now Alessandra could
I could help.
but if Joy fails, he's here and he's in a negatively disposed towards the two of you mood.
No, we'll just keep it with me. That'll be fine. I'm gonna spend I'm gonna spend a persona. I think
To get Soren here.
add a die
Sure.
to that. Why not?
Oh, Elf, you're great.
Why? What? Why? What do you mean?
Oh.
You got a success, but it's a 6.
There's 6 in there. I'm gonna spend a fate.
Okay, do it.
I'm praying for you.
Of course you are.
4.
Oh, so close.
No.
All right, so you can put circles. Put Soren on your enmity list.
Oh, good.
Oh, sorry.
Whatever has brought him here, he is not in the mood for your fucking shenanigans. He's annoyed with you. He is negatively predisposed towards Joy.
Sweet deal.
But he's here nonetheless.
I've always wanted a negatively disposed person with a sword and the means of using it.
So we see the two of them,
Death wish. It's fine.
Tabitha and Soren. We see them talking, and he looks annoyed. He looks like cold, and like they're having this discussion where it looks like he's saying, "I have something better to do," and she's saying, "Like, chill. You can do your better to do thing later."
Okay.
And so he's just grumpy and not interested in being here.
Sorry.
And so, so I think you start to get set up. And meanwhile, Miro, you are who brings you the news of this thing? Is it just like one of the common folk, or is it like your uncle, or?
It's probably my uncle because there's opportunity there for him.
Right. Sure, to get some free shit.
So
So you're with your uncle, and you're in your little. He likes to keep you in the attic, so he comes to visit you. And the two of you are eating. You've got some meager, and what's great is that I think he's prepared like an intentionally meager meal so that he can use it as leverage to convince you. He's got more food and better food, but if he brings you something shitty and like weak, he can be like, I've heard that God has turned the hearts. Oh, that's so good. Okay, so you're sitting with him, and he says to you, nephew, have you noticed the weather seems a bit merciful today? And I was thinking, perhaps it would be good for you to get some air, to see God's kingdom with your own eyes. I think you've been doing well since. And he like looks pointedly at, your shoulder.
Yes. Yes, it is all well and good for the people to hear of me, but to see the gifts that I've been given would bolster their spirits. And I must confess to being a little tired of being stuck in that room.
And he nods and he says, even the monks take walks outside the monastery from time to time. I was thinking, nephew, I had heard some of your faithful discussing a matter of some charity at the castle. One of the nobles of the court has decided to take it upon themselves to give the common folk a gift, food, wood for the fire. Truly, God has touched their heart with charity, and I thought it might be wise if we were to take some of the faithful to the castle so that they might receive the charity of the nobility. Reassure them that the great chain of being floweth from God down even unto this cold place on earth. What say you, nephew?
Yes. Well, that is a splendid idea. I would like to thank whoever is doing God's work myself.
And he nods and says, yes, of course, something for you while we are there, something to do. I am sure that they would love to know that their acts of mercy are looked kindly upon by those who are chosen by God. It would be reassuring for everyone to have you there, I'm sure.
I hope so. Though I hope, well, if he chooses to manifest himself around the others, I will be forced into combat once again.
Yeah, and so he does that like thing where he's talking to a baby, where he's like, shh, like makes that kind of like womb noise, and he puts his hands out, and he's like, oh nephew, you needn't, on a blessed day such as this, you needn't worry yourself with the phantoms that torment you. I am certain that being surrounded by the people who love you and your word, by feeling the warmth of God's place for you on earth, will drive these phantoms from your mind, even just for the day. And he looks down at the meal that you're sort of finishing, and he says, shall I fetch for you your winter cloak? Though it is a fine day, the wind is still cold.
I tilt my head at him and I say, drive them from my mind. Uncle, it is not so simple a matter as this. Has Father Orimolon not spoken to you of what occurred on that day?
He shakes his head and he says, no, I have not spoken to your Corvidae patron in some weeks now. I had understood that he was busy spreading the good word among the clergy. He has not come by to visit in some time, and has spoken not of your phantoms.
Uncle, when the dead move on into heaven, they still exist as the people that they were. They do not stop. The scriptures, our whole faith is based around rewarding those who've done deserved acts.
When you say the scriptures, are you referring to those that were given unto man by the saints, or are you like casting your glance to a pile of scribblings on your desk?
Yeah, he betrays it by like, this is something I've been working on, but he's definitely referring to the actual Bible or whatever.
Yeah. And he says, of course, Miro, the sacred dead are an important fact of doctrine. That those who part from their earthly penance are returned to God's grace in heaven. But your followers would have your mind and heart here with them, and not in the hallowed halls, just for the day.
Of course. Though, as a fellow faithful, as a believer, these phantoms are not of my imagining, Uncle. They exist. Because you cannot see them with your eyes does not mean...
Yes, of course, Miro. No one would doubt that, my child. And he gives you like a firm like look in the eyes, like, everything that you see, all that which you feel is a gift from our Lord God Almighty, from the Holy Spirit that pervades this kingdom and through you speaks to us. I wish for you to remember today as we go out among the people that not everyone is ready to hear the true word of our Lord God, not in so great a volume as you are able to speak it. And I would ask only, my dear, dear child, and he puts his hand on your shoulder, remain calm in these chaotic times. Be you gentle with these lost lambs. Let not the fervor of your faith take over the kindness of your heart. He is desperately trying to soothing platitudes you into not doing anything crazy.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So Uncle Oswald is just really trying to be like, please just don't, like, I love you, you fiery maniac, but we're going to take you out in public and I just need you to behave yourself.
I'm interested in seeing mechanically how effective he is at doing this.
Yes. Yeah, he's very good at it. This is like one of his big skills.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure it is in my place to say grant him advantage because he's saying exactly what I want to hear with all the correct.
I know your character. I know how this goes. Yeah. You're a big deal to this guy, but only so much as he can control you and use you to like wring a good living out of the people around him. Some part of him believes, but he also believes he's your guardian, right? That it's his job to like be rewarded by our Lord God Almighty for his behavior. Okay, so this will just set the tone, and I think that if he succeeds, you agree not to be more subtle than you usually are, and if he fails, you can go as ham as you like.
Right.
What's your will?
It is 6.
Okay. All right. So it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, the failure condition for this is it plants the seed of doubt of whether I'm being manipulated at all. Because he doesn't. Yeah. Without this dude failing, I don't think he has a reason to believe it.
Okay. I'm going to give him a few skills because I think it's reasonable for him to have some forks here.
Yep. That's how he's made his way. He's a minor noble. It's all bending and scraping to people.
Totally. Yeah. Whatever the like toadying skill is, he has that. Obsequiousness wise.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna give him. And you think he deserves a.
Yes, give him
an advantage. Okay, and the ob here is 6.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how old Uncle Oswald Corvus can do.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 4. Do you think, as a group, do we think he warrants having a fate point?
He's been close.
Why the hell not?
Is he a relationship? You bought him as a relationship, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's make that roll in.
He's used fate before actually, but I think time has passed.
There it is. Calm yourself, my nephew.
All right.
Yeah, calm down, Miro.
Be shelter, not the storm today, Miro. So yeah, and I think that we see him, he leads you outside, and again, reinforcing that kind of weird, like Christmas Carol vibe. Like, it's a clear day, and you're both, like, you have to bundle up a little more than usual because you've hacked off some of your fur. And he goes out, treating you more or less like an invalid, right? Like, he holds your arm, and when people try to talk to you directly, he like guides them aside. And we can all see he's been working this crowd already, right? Like, I'm going to bring Miro out. Don't look at him directly. Don't do all the, like, stay back. And so they look at you in awe, not only because of what you've said, but because he's created this buffer around you to be like, don't, like, just, be careful. He's built up the myth for his own benefit. And so you and your uncle and a group of, say, a dozen of the common folk head out through the city to visit Alessandra at her charitable giving.
And all the while, Miro is like looking up at this clear sky, like with a worried expression. He's like,
oh my god! So Miro, I think what we see, and this will be great. We'll go to break right after this. So as you walk by, so you have to take this long walk, and it's quite early. Everything is covered in sparkling snow. The sun is out, and the clouds have like parted a little bit today, so we can actually see some blue sky. It's very, very cold and crisp. And as you walk by the cathedral, the sort of broken ribs stone cathedral, the bodies have all fallen under its. There's been enough snow now that all we just see is these kind of like these gentle snow drifts where there used to be corpses. So it's kind of like these little slaloms of like perfect untouched snow. And as we walk by the chapel, the sun kind of glares into your eye, and you hear like we get Miro's point of view. We hear like a terrible, like sort of screeching, like bending metal sound. And it's like physically painful for you. And it's like triggered by the sun kind of coming into your peripheral on a sharp angle. How do you react? Do you like grab your head? Do you stumble? What do you do?
Yeah, he like reels for a second, and then like looks up, tries to, and then we see for a few seconds he just like blinks really hard, takes a like does the little holy symbol, and just like stares at the sun for a few seconds.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like you just look directly into the sun, and yeah, like you can feel like tears like freezing on your face as you stare in the sun, and somewhere, as though through a mile of water, you can hear Uncle Oswald being like, Miro, my boy, and like kind of shaking you slightly. And yeah, you can just make out, though your fucking retinas are burning, you can just make out on the spire of the chapel, like clinging to the side of it, enormous, you know, like 3 or 4 times like a giant, the height of a regular person, with its long, white, spindly limbs, jointed too many times, like clinging to the edge of the tower, looking down at you, just for a second before you have to look away. You can see the Angel of Winter watching you through its veil of snow. And that's when you're kind of like pulled back to reality. You have to blink and look away. All you can see is like spots. You're blind for a second, and you feel yourself being kind of pulled along by your uncle. Who's like, come now, Miro. Come on, boy. Yep. Cool. And you get taken off to the moment. So we'll take a break here, and then it's party time. It's charitable, hand out everything party, and then the post show. Where you can do some manipulating joy. So stick around, everybody. We got some more Burning Wheel coming at you right after this.